Do you want to travel more in your retirement? How about farther and for longer than you've ever had the opportunity to do before? We can reinvent, rethink, and redesign our retirement life to live our best life, even in homes with pools just like this. No matter what your budget is or where you are, let's talk about what it takes to be a nomad and really enjoy your retirement. Are you ready? Becoming a nomad means that your desire to travel is stronger than all of that stuff that you've collected, and maybe stronger than your home or the condo. So it's really important to think about, am I going on the road for a short time or a long time? And how much do I want to commit my life to travel? So I have purged everything I owned, saved some suitcases and maybe a box or two, 4 times in my life. And the latest was in August 2021 when I quit my job, and I don't know that I was even sure I was retiring. But now, entering the 3rd year, I consider myself retired as a solo nomad. And it's been a wonderful 2+ years. One of the things about a nomad is how we define it. Some people have a home and they go on extended vacations. So maybe when we were working, we could only take maybe 2 weeks or 3 weeks if we even had it, and they could let us get away from the office for that long. Being a nomad can be full-time or part-time. So you have a permanent home that you come back to, but maybe you're gone for 3 or 4 months or even half the year. Others of us, like me, are full-time. I have no permanent home, and it doesn't matter what your budget is or what your travel plans are. It's available to anyone who has a purpose and a why for wanting to travel during retirement. I think part of this is learning to live with less. So we're going to start this talking about your home or apartment or condo and what's in it, and do you need it anymore? There's a lot of talk on a number of Facebook groups and some other travel groups about the Swedish death cleaning or purging. So if you're thinking about doing this in 6 months to a year, you could start looking around the house now. And people do trash, donate, and sell piles. And trash would be obviously the things that they really aren't useful to other people. And honestly, when you donate that stuff to a Salvation Army or a Goodwill, it's not really well appreciated. So if it's considered trash to you, it may not be another one's treasure. So you have a trash pile, and that's easy, right? You can put it in a trash bag and put it out on the curb. Yesterday, I attempted to make this video, and within the hour, the pool guy showed up. Hey, how are ya? Good. And then the gardeners next door showed up using their blowers. It was so loud. And then a host called asking me if I was available to sit on certain dates. And then I tried again, and a friend called. So after an hour of trying to tape this yesterday, I gave up. May not look the same as I did in the previous part of this video. We're going to laugh about it, and we're going to move on. There you go. We were talking about purging. My very first one was after my divorce. I went from a 2-bedroom to a 1-bedroom and had a 12-foot dining room table. I had kitchen stuff, packed. I think when I moved, there were like 20 or 30 boxes of kitchen items alone. And I did not want to pack up that kitchen again. So I literally opened the cupboards, invited my girlfriends over first, and said, take whatever it is that you want. A lot of the kitchen stuff went to them, and I felt very good. Packing up your kitchen is a royal pain. So the more of that you can get rid of, at least the more of that I could get rid of, the lighter my packing was. And I had a huge sectional that was really nice and comfortable. I donated that to an organization that had a place for teachers, new teachers, to come and work together and learn. That dining room table was 12 feet long, so it had limited abilities to go into many spaces, so that was fine, and that went to a young couple. So part of the purging for me was also matching the stuff up to the people. So it all worked out. Some of it was sold, some of it was given. I think if you look at purging as an ability to help someone else out, either face to face or just by calling Salvation Army or Goodwill to pick it all up, then I don't feel like I'm just trashing everything I have. It's an ability to help somebody else have a better life or a better home. So my second purge was when I had an opportunity to move to Australia to work. So this was not vacation. I was going to be setting up a home there. The visa was for 3 years. They offered to move me everything I had. I wanted to move things that I really wanted to live with. So I brought a lot of clothes that in the end I didn't need. I did bring my bed. I don't know why. It was a king, a US king, and a frame that a friend had made for me, and I really just didn't want to get rid of it. As I moved there, they gave me some place to live in a furnished apartment while my stuff was in transit via a shipping container. So I was in an apartment for about 2 months, just living out of a couple suitcases, and then I moved into the apartment and had to wait about 3 or 4 weeks for that shipping container and the movers to deliver it all. So I had an air mattress and a table and chairs. You're living for a month basically with whatever clothes you have, whatever toiletries you have, an air mattress, and a dining room table and chairs. And it is amazing how little you need. Oh, I did decide, stupidly, to bring all of my appliances, my kitchen appliances, with me to Australia. And the reason I did that, not so stupid maybe, is because they're very, very, very expensive in Australia. So my KitchenAid mixer, my Vitamix, I had a handheld mixer. I'm trying to think of what else. Those were the 3 big ones that I had. And I bought for like $150 Australian a converter that converted the voltage from US to Australian. And I have to tell you, while I was there, I was still in my cooking frame of mind. I made challah during the high holidays. I often made bread. I did a lot of baking and brought it into the office, and I cooked for myself. So actually, that wasn't so stupid. Think about what you're going to really use if you're going to stay in an apartment or if you're downsizing. So right now, I do a lot of house sitting. I have all of these appliances, all these kitchen appliances. I don't use them much. Like maybe I'll use the Vitamix, but I'm certainly not using a KitchenAid anymore. A good knife and a good cutting board is all I need. So think about how and what your lifestyle is going to be if you want to be traveling, and what in your home is serving you now, and what in your home will serve you if you choose to go away for 6 months and then come back for 2, or only live there part-time. So I think kitchens take up a lot of space and a lot of boxing, and closets take up a lot of boxing. So think about that. I decided to leave Australia. My visa was almost up, and I said, okay, look, I had a great 3 years here. We raised some money, and it's time to go home. But I did not have a job to go home to. I would have had to ship everything back, and I had to buy my own ticket back to the United States. So the purge began. The big things went first. So the bed went through the closet and did a lot of purging there. Also had brought my Elfa closet stuff with me and got rid of that. And the table and chairs that I had bought there as well. I also had a washer and dryer and a beautiful leather couch that I had gotten cheap, $150 Australian, an L-shaped leather couch. It fit perfectly in the apartment. And my neighbor across the hallway in Australia took my apartment. So I gifted him the washer and dryer and the leather couch, who no one was buying. So it was fine. It didn't matter. And when I came home from Australia, I came home with, I think, 3 suitcases. I still had my bike because I was using my bike a lot, and I love doing city biking. And I shipped 2 small boxes home. And I was coming back to Las Vegas. Friends of mine had a casita there, going into a very small place, and I didn't have a job. So I was like, I don't know what I'm going to be doing, so I don't need much of anything. I did bring home some work clothes and some fun clothes and some workout clothes. So that was probably the majority of the stuff that I brought home. And that was sort of the third purge in my life to get me back from Australia to the United States. Again, it was a matter of what was going to be serving me, and I wasn't sure because I didn't have a job, but I just didn't need all the stuff. So for me, this is all just stuff. And even if I go back to Las Vegas, when I moved out of the casita and I had gotten a job, when I moved into that apartment, I was very, very, very conscious of what I put in that apartment. And I've been a minimalist for a while. So what did I need in this 1-bedroom apartment to live? And it wasn't much. When I left Las Vegas, I had 15 boxes packed for San Diego, plus the furniture, which was the couch and the bed. And that was it. So it was a big challenge, like how few boxes can I move with? So my most recent purge got me to where I am today. I quit my job in August of 21. I was living in San Diego. And I decided I am just getting out of here. I don't know if I'm retiring. I don't know if I'm taking a long vacation or a short vacation, but I am getting out of here. And again, I just start with the big stuff. So the big stuff is the bed. I had a couch. And honestly, because I was so sick of working, my business clothes went first. And I donated some and I sold some, and then I just gave away the rest. And it was an opportunity to also, again, help other folks that were moving in or doing something new and needed some hand up to start their new life in San Diego. I think learning to live as a minimalist and what you really need to live with, anything from clothes to your kitchen to your bathroom stuff and your linens. I used to have 3 or 4 sets of linens. Why do I need that? I ended up with 1 set of linens, and I took them off the bed, put them in the wash, and put them back on the bed. So, it's just, you kind of think about how you accumulate things. And as you're going through this process, if the goal and the purpose is to travel more in retirement, you're not going to need that stuff anyway. So one of the things that people ask me all the time is, do you miss your stuff? I think that once you've gone through this a couple of times, there is no missing of stuff, because the stuff doesn't matter. What's more important to me are the people in my life that I love and that I can care for and they care for me, and what I need to get through every day. I end up having a lot of workout stuff because I spend time working out, walking a lot, being out in the community, that sort of thing. And my dress up clothes or my going out clothes, I can't even call them work clothes, are much fewer in my closet than they were when I was working. And so I don't know what I miss. And if I do miss something, I always find a TJ Maxx or a thrift store and find something. So there's not a lot of missing. And I think that my memories and maybe my photographs and other things keep me remembering the things that were important to me. So all that other stuff is just stuff. And that's sort of my mindset. So you have to get into that place where all the things that you've accumulated over time, what value do they hold to you? Are they anchoring you in place or lifting you up? So I think that that's something that each person has to come to individually. The other thing to think about, and it's interesting as I entered this minimalist community, is first it was sort of young people or people my age wanting just to get rid of stuff. They weren't even traveling. They just wanted to lighten up, so they became minimal. And then people my age started getting on to this minimalist idea and posting about how they were going to prepare their homes for when they die, so their children don't have to go through their home and get rid of everything. So it's sort of interesting to watch over the course of 10 or 12 years, the points of view from young people to those our age talking about minimalism and what it means to them and how they're implementing it. And the idea of keeping stuff in the garage or in the attic that your kids are going to want from their high school swim tournament or awards or kindergarten paintings or whatever, the kids don't want it. I mean, they're just not interested in it. And now they have kids of their own. And so sort of it's been in the closet or in the attic for so long, they don't even know it's there. So if you think you're keeping things for someone else, that's probably the last reason why you should be keeping it. And I think it's just a journey that everybody can go through in any way they want. For me, it's a very simple process of getting rid of, the top things go first, and then I start sort of saying, oh, do I want to keep that? Do I not? And I might put it in a box in a corner and then come back to it later. So I think, though, it's key to being a nomad is having a lot less stuff. I think it's a key to being able to travel well and travel lightly, and all that stuff is just weighing you down. We've talked about purging and getting ready to travel in our retirement, and for me personally, not having an apartment and not having rent has moved that rental cost over to my travel budget. And it's different for everybody depending on where you are, but that's what has allowed me to travel, along with house sitting. And then I house sit for a while and I go on a cruise, and then I go on a cruise, I go on to a land tour, or I find another community to live in. I am a slow mad, which means that I stay in a place anywhere from 2 to 6 months. I'm not interested really in bopping around every weekend and finding someplace new to be. I kind of land someplace and then do trips from there. So there's nomads and there's slow mads, And even within the nomad community, there are people who are full-time nomads like me. I am on the road full-time and I don't have a permanent home. And then there are nomads who still keep their home, and they may go on trips from 2 to 3 months, or even be away from their permanent home for six months or longer. So it's really up to you as to how you define what your nomad lifestyle may or may not be like. And don't let anybody else define it for you. As long as you're doing what you enjoy and you're exploring an area that you haven't been before, or checking off your bucket list of places you want to go, you can call it vacation, you can call it nomading, you can call it slow madding, you can call it whatever you want. The bottom line is, I believe and I feel like I'm living my best life because I've chosen at this time for the last couple of years to travel. It's something that I've always enjoyed. So if travel is something that you think you want to enjoy, I think that as retired people, no matter what our budget is or where we are, we can make that decision to live our best life and redefine and rethink and redesign our retirement to make it the way we want it to be. In my case, it's a full-time nomad, house sitting and traveling around the world and leveraging my points, and you can read about it on my blog and hear about it from others on my podcast and this YouTube channel. All I can say is, don't knock it till you've tried it. Start the purging maybe with one closet or one drawer or one cabinet in your kitchen, and then book your first trip. And it could be a weekend. It could be a week. Maybe it's an entire month. I would just like to leave you with the idea that this is an opportunity that can present itself, and you decide if you want to open the door. Thanks for watching.